Hello, everyone, and welcome back to TAS Africa podcast, where we share stories and conversation about how Africans shape their future through engineering, innovation, and leadership. My name is Marlene, the communication specialist at TAS Africa, and I'll be your host in today's episode. In our last episode, we discussed about the next steps that TAS Africa is about to start or to do after introducing the HAIR-STEIC Pathway. And the second thing that we discussed or explored are the skills, mindset shift, and opportunities young people will gain once the HAIR-STEIC is fully implemented. And the third is that we discussed how young people can start preparing themselves now to benefit from the upcoming programs. And today we want to build directly on the conversation by going deeper into the first question, like the first question we saw in our previous episodes, the next steps that TAS Africa is about to get, but not at high level. We are going to do it to explain it in a more practical way. To help us do that, I am once again joined by the program coordinator at TAS Africa, Mr. Haguma Jean-Claude, who has been closely involved in shaping the HAIR-STEIC vision. Mr. Haguma, welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, you are welcome. So let's start. In the last episode, we talked broadly about the next steps for TAS Africa after introducing the HAIR-STEIC. And today, I'd like us to go a level deeper. Based on the foundation we've already laid in our past conversations, how does TAS Africa plan to move from the concept of HAIR-STEIC to concrete programs that young people can actually access and participate in? Like, what does this transition from framework to real training and activity look like in a practical way?
Thank you very much for having me again, and I appreciate your invitation to this second podcast with me. And I would like to first make a clear emphasis on the fact that programs at TAS Africa are designed for African professionals, young graduates, just who are joining the labor market or the world of work, and as well the existing industry professionals in diverse fields. However, we keep on emphasizing on young people, just because the future of Africa lies in the hands of the young people. Because when you talk about Vision 2050, Rwanda Vision 2050, it is not for those who are in their 60s. When you talk about AU Agenda 2063, all those visions are designed on the philosophy of the Rwanda we want, the Africa we want, and our forefathers or the prominent figures of this generation have tried their very best to have Africa standing, liberated, at least to make it standing. But it's now the mandate of the young people, irrespective of which fields they are engaged into, to shape the Africa as we want it. Because mostly young people have this kind of mindset that if I go in Europe, maybe I can make better life. But Europe was built by the Europeans to look the way it looks so that we can all desire to stay, work, or live from there. So it's now our mandate to make this Africa of ours to be shaped the way we want it to be. And that begins with I can, you can, and together we can do it. So I wanted to emphasize the reason why we make a critical emphasis on young people. However, it doesn't, we have a broader scope. We also think about those who believe they are not young, but also willing to have a part to play in the future of Africa. Now, coming straight to your question, which is indeed a good question about how we're trying to shift or how we are shifting from concepts to programs. Yeah, I'll be very practical and detailed. We have HAIR-STEIC Pathway as a delivery model and instructional methodology, which has its own guidelines and manual, and it can be used as an educational tool or a training manual. And HAIR-STEIC manual itself as a model can be adopted by educational institutions and even those organizations that are giving trainings as service as an instructional methodology or a kind of model to deliver the specific skills they want to train people with. And so from now conceiving HAIR-STEIC as an idea or a philosophy and making it a lens through which we can look into other different aspects of the professional world, we have stepped into now designing materials, training materials, like how will the checklist be looking like, the manuals, what are the steps, how do we check out if someone has got really the aspect of a helicopter view, the bigger picture of their whichever lessons or course they are doing. So after having that well articulated and well structured, so we have those materials. So now we have also some other customized programs. Initially, we have we started with a focus on STEM, STEM related. That means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, because we believe in engineering as a game changer in transforming Africa into an industrial hub and to make people who did engineering, who did technology, solution providers, not just job seekers, those who will be meandering around the world like looking for good opportunities. But we believe that STEM education should equip Africa with transformed individuals who have the capacity to drive and to be at the forefront of the African industrialization agenda and to deliver practical solutions. Well, so apart from now having a model, a well-tested and accredited model, which is HAIR-STEIC Pathway, we also have some customized programs that are from one field to another, like in agriculture, in energy, in transportation, in real estate, housing, and so on. We have those programs, but also under the HAIR-STEIC Pathway. So it is simply like I have just graduated from, let's say, water engineering, and I want to go for environmental management. And since I want to specialize as an environmentalist, I can do that course or I can receive a kind of training in that specific field from a professional who has been doing that environmental profession for over some years. But HAIR-STEIC will be in between as a delivery methodology. That's what we are doing with these customized programs. We have also some people who do visit our website, and even we mentioned it from the previous episode. We also have tailor-made programs. Tailor-made programs are programs that are designed based on the needs of a specific organization, individual, or any entity. But tailor-made programs are basically related to what we have as HAIR-STEIC enhancers. We have the trio GPSs for productivity, we have profit framework, we have the 5 Ps for high performance, 6 Ms for operational excellence, and also equipping people with the detractors. I think we cannot break them down, but as we design tailor-made courses in this category, we look into corporate governance, business structuring, HR modeling, and productivity enhancing for the team and the staff. So this works for in a broader scope. It doesn't limit itself to the engineering practitioners or engineering entities. It also do apply to other corporate institutions. Like when you want people to understand how their assignment, let's say I work as an administrative clerk, like I do handle emails and internal communications, or I do assist the business executive with internal communications. I should have a bigger picture of how my daily tasks fit into the overall business goals and even the growth of the entire institution. So that's helicopter view. When we say analysis, we should understand analytically, like if we are, let's say, if you're running a school, for instance, and 600 out of 1,000 of students, they come to school late for 5 minutes. And those 5 minutes, we should be able to critically understand how those 5 minutes affect the overall performance, the overall academic performance of the entire school, not just those single individuals, those single students. And looking into the habits, the norms, the biases, and even random practices do affect the overall business objectives and the achievement of the organizational goal. So that's having the analytical capacity and data-driven mindset, kind of. So I was just saying that to give a clear example how HAIR-STEIC does not only relate with engineering practitioners, but do apply in all aspects of the professional world. So we're now broadening our scope with having these tailor-made categories, but we believe that also part of the HAIR-STEIC. The 6 M's apply for mostly the manufacturers and industrialists. The 6 M's, it gives people a clear concept about how to deal with human labor, machines, nature, and all of those aspects, how they affect production and the operational efficiency. We have also the profit, people, resources, organization, formula, and so on. All those have a lot to do with how do we boost productivity in our respective businesses. So we have also this category for corporate leaders, corporate institutions, and those who want to improve their competences and their capacities in different areas. That's how we are designing HAIR-STEIC now to turn into practical programs where people can directly benefit from it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Haguma, for explaining us deeply how this framework will transition from the vision or an idea into practice, like trainings, like real trainings. And this is really helpful, which brings me to encourage you, please. I encourage you to go on our website. We visit our website and check all those programs. I'm sure that you get interested. Who knows? Maybe you can get some programs. You can find some programs which you might get interested in so that you can develop in your career or your field. So now let's move on to the second question. And could you please tell us, like, for us, we repeatedly talk about collaboration in our previous conversation.
Yeah.
So, building on what we've already shared with our audience, who are the key players, South Africa needs to collaborate with to bring this HAIR-STEIC program to life. Which institutions, sectors, or partners are essential for turning this vision into working ecosystem?
Thank you very much. Collaboration, I think we all remember that it's the last component of the framework C. So because whichever business we are doing, we are not just standalone individuals, we are connected to the community, and everything collectively works together for the betterment and the improvement of their lives. So Tasks Africa does collaborate with some other institutions, both public and private, locally and internationally, and even regionally. But so far, we have tried and managed to collaborate with a number of institutions, including the Institution of Engineers, because since we have customized engineering related programs, we do need to work with the professional body that regulates the engineering profession. That's the Institution of Engineers of Rwanda. We also have partnerships with industrial research institutions, public one called NIRDA, for research purposes, and also developing such concepts so that we can have really engineering that leads to industrialization as part of the development agenda of our country. Because since Rwanda should be a middle income country by 2050, then it means we need to have skilled professionals, and we need to have industries, good working industries, and those industries are going to be running, or to be like the people who will be at the forefront of the industrialization are the engineers of today, those who are doing engineering programs, those who are mastering what they are doing, so that we can not just be a market, but we just be the producers. And we do also cooperate with or look forward to engaging educational institutions, because as I started earlier mentioning, HAIR-STEIC model as an educational tool, an instructional methodology, and it has been endorsed by a number of professionals who have more than 3 decades of experience in education and trainings delivery. So we need to engage them so that this model can be adopted as an educational tool to see how it bridges the existing gaps that were identified from the other models that has been there, or the curricula or some other instructional methodologies that have been in place, but that seems to be adjusted to suit the current needs. We also partner with the skills councils, because mostly the skills councils are critical players in the skills development and the entire ecosystem of the working world here, both in Rwanda and elsewhere. So they do the skills gap assessment, the labor market assessment, the needs. They see what are the training skills, the skills of the 21st century, and how are going to be aligned with the educational curricula, the trainings that are delivered by professional bodies, so that people will keep on upskilling and upskilling, so that they meet the evolving needs of Africa. Because the nature of our markets and even our labor market, you will always see that the skills you have today might not be relevant in the coming 2 years ahead. And that has a lot to do with the nature and even the size of our economies and so on. And it's not surprising, because it's a stage that even developed countries have been through that stage. So you just get to learn about how to automate your industry, and then AI comes in. And AI seems to be more advanced than automation. And we are even still trying to cope with the automation technology and AI. That's why they are even
Yes.
called disruptive technologies. So you see, people are mastering green buildings, and then 3D printing comes in. And then people are simply sitting on a software, they design a building, then they just take machines at the field, they print a house. 3D, good concrete house. So all those trends, all those changes, and all those kinds of evolving and popping up things, for us to remain coping with the changes and to remain relevant with the market, we need to always upskill our labor force, always upskill our young people, always work on the curricula, always improve, always see how can we refine, how can we make sure that the industry will not just serve people for now, but fail tomorrow. And that is only achieved with people who have the HAIR-STEIC thinking, the HAIR-STEIC philosophy driven professionals. They can be able to think on a broader scope. That is why we always insist on people having a bigger picture, just looking beyond what you're doing now, thinking about the sustainability. That's another aspect about social responsibility. Like, how are you going to sustain what we have now to be able to be serving the society of tomorrow, and so on and so on. So that is why we believe that skills councils will be good partners and are good partners. So we also have international partners like Tembusu Asia, whom we partner together in some areas like getting professionals, training people, offering trainings. So we do collaborate with all those stakeholders to make sure that the African workforce get enough skills to drive the African development agenda and turn it into a reality. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haguma, for helping us connecting the dots between the vision and also the implementation. Now, I hope that you have got all the informations you need about this coming program. Like, I can't wait to see you participating or starting to take those courses because it is really, really helpful. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much this time.
You're welcome. And to all our listeners, today's discussion is about clarifying, understanding how HAIR-STEIC moves from an idea we've been talking about into programs you will soon be able to engage with. Stay connected with TAS Africa for more information, opportunities, and also upcoming programs. This is Marlene. It has been TAS Africa Podcast.